So the whole purpose and the goal of this channel for me is to try to spread a little bit of knowledge that I have with you guys, and also hopefully to inspire some of you to, work on your own projects and create something that maybe otherwise you wouldn't. But for the most part, I feel like I'm accomplishing that. I try to read all of your guys' comments, and if I give you a heart on the comment, that means I've read it. And I try to read every single one as much as I possibly can. I'm sure I probably miss one every now and again, but for the most part I do. And for the most part, everyone's telling me that they're, liking what I'm doing. I'm inspiring them. There's examples of that from, Old Crow being out there and other areas, kind of copied. There's copies of Hookers and Blow, not only here, but actually across the world on Hookers and Blow, and actually multiple continents, multiple countries. So that's pretty awesome. So overall, I think I'm being fairly inspiring. But I was reading a comment the other day, and the gentleman that left the comment apparently was not inspired. So I think it's human nature to always have a hater out there, or someone that's not going to be happy with something. It just is what it is. But I think that, it's kind of one of those situations where I kind of feel like if the guy knew me better, and if he knew my situation better and all of that, then maybe he wouldn't feel the way that he did and wouldn't have said the things that he said. And the things he said wasn't that bad. It mostly just amounted to something along the lines of he could do everything I was doing if he had $1 million shop and $1 million worth of tools and blah, 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 and all this and that. So, here nor there, like I said, not that big of a deal. And as far as haters go, I can let that stuff bounce off me, or I can compete with them, with the best of them. Either way, either way we want to go. But I'm Gen X, so, whatever. Stuff bounces off us, it's like no big deal. Anyhow, it got me thinking that maybe today I ought to make a video for you guys. And in this video, we're going to be out of the shop, and we're going to be doing something different. I am hopefully going to go over to Wichita to an auction and try to pick up some new equipment for the shop. And since that was kind of this guy's argument that, I've got a $1 million shop, which I guarantee you I do not have a $1 million shop. And first of all, I gave $1,000 for the building that we are in, and we have worked our rear off just to try to get it to where it's something that we can actually use. And anybody that's been around the channel for a while knows that. So there's that. And then as far as $1 million worth of tools, most of my tools that I have, I've bought used. I mean, even when it comes down to a lot of hand tools, I've also bought used. Having that said, I know a lot of people don't understand that, and there's a lot of people that go with a straight mindset of you have to go to the store, you have to buy something, this is how much it costs, and since that is the amount that it costs and they don't have that amount of money, then they can't have it, and therefore they can't do the things that they want to do. Well, the whole purpose of today's video is to hopefully show you guys that there are other options out there. So the other option that I want to present to you guys today, like I said, is an auction. And this auction is a pretty good tool auction. And the auctioneer, I've been to a lot of his sales, and I've actually bought a lot of stuff. A lot of the things that you see in my shop have came from this guy's auction, including like even my forklift and a lot of the tools that I use every day. There's my notcher. There's a bunch of stuff that I've bought for a fraction of the cost and is good equipment. And I'm hoping that today is going to be another one of those situations where I get to increase what we've got in the shop for tooling and also not spend a lot in the process of doing that. So that's probably enough rambling for today. Let's go ahead and get over to Wichita, and I'll show you what all is over there when I get there, and I'll show you some of the stuff selling, and hopefully show you some of the stuff that I get at the end. So I didn't video everything that was at the auction for you guys, but I got you a pretty good idea of what all's there now at this point. And it's a pretty eclectic mix. There's some woodworking stuff there, there's some metalworking stuff, there's some higher end stuff, and there's definitely some bottom of the barrel stuff. So stuff for everyone, basically, I guess, if you will. And there's definitely some stuff there that I want. It's going to sell towards the end of the auction, so I have to wait for it to be able to sell. So I got some video of some of the other stuff that was selling before then to give you kind of an idea of what some of the prices are and what are some of the things that are here at this sale. And think about how many of them as it's selling here that you might use or that you've already bought. And if you have already bought them, think about how much it cost you when you bought it and how much it's selling for at this auction.
10, 10, 5, 5, 5, $2, $2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, go 3, 5, 3, be 3, so $2 get 1 money, 10, up, give it again, 10, 10, 5, 5, 5, 5, $2 bit now 3, up, you get 3, 3, 3, 3, go 3, 5, 3, get 3, so $2 bill, 1, 6, $1, $50, $50, happen 2, up, we get 2, 5, 2, go 2, bid 2 now, 2 and a half, up, 2 now, 2 now, 2 now, 2 now, 3, 3, 3, 3, go 3, 5, 3, get 3, so 2 and a half, buy the box. 2 times your bid. And how much a box? 5, 2. Up the box into 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. So $3. 10, 20, 5, 5, 5. 5, 2 down, 5, 2 down, go 2 down, $2, now 2. Up to 3, 3, 3, 20, 5, 3, go 3, 5, 3, so 2, 5, 8, 5. Or 5, up, 5, 1, 6, 6, 7, 7, go 8, 8, 8, 8, 9, 8, 9, get in, 10, 10, get in, 10 bid, 10, so 9. Drill bit index set on here to him. What's in here? I'm going to go to get 10. Up to get in. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 5, 5, 5, 5, 2 down for $1, 2 down for $1, 2, 3, up to get 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, go to get 7, up to go 7 bid, 7, go 7, go 7 months, 7, go 7 bid, 7 bid, 7, so 6, 5, 5, 5, 5, 2 down for $1, 2 down for $1, up to for $1, 1 bid, 1, 2, 2, so $103. T-wrenches in here, selling them all together for 10. Up then from all 10, 10, 5, 5, 5, 2 down 3. Up then bid now 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, so 4, 162, 2, 2, 2, 5, 2, 2, 3, up to get 3, 3, 3, so 2, 6. Next them all, 63.
So there was definitely some good deals in the smalls up there for sure. And I bought a few things. I'll show you that here in a little bit. But for the most part, I've been doing these auctions. I've been to probably literally hundreds of them throughout the last, almost, over 30 years that I've been going to auctions and collecting tools and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of sales that I've been to, and I've already got most of this stuff, but there is definitely some unique pieces here as this one that I was after, and I guess we can go ahead and kind of show you now some of the stuff that I got. Oh wait, before we do that though, I guess I ought to show you some of the more expensive stuff that I didn't get, like mostly the woodworking stuff and things like that that I'm not really into.
1800, so 1762. Brick sleeve, 12-inch table saw, 500, so 4 and a half, you're right, quarter, up to quarter and a half, up to 50, 350, 350 and a half, so 3 and a quarter, 160, 8 inch. Well, join the wrist next up here with your mobile base and how much on here? Divide, 4 and a half, up 4 and a half, 4 and a half, 450, 450, 4 and a half, 4 and a half, 5, up, get a 5, so 4 and a half.
Well guys, I'm super stoked on this auction. I feel like I did really, really well. I just set all of the little anvils that are here for the plenishing hammer in the back of the truck in the basket with all of our other stuff. And I'm sitting here looking at the rest of the stuff that's down here on the bottom of this thing. And I think there's some really cool stuff down here too. So let me flip this around and show you. So we got this old router thing here. Who cares about that? It might be worth something to somebody, but not really me. I don't care about that. But what I'm seeing, oh sweet. I thought that's what that was. Wow, look at this. These are in the bottom of our plenishing hammer. And these are layout tools from Mittler Brothers for a bead roller. How sick is that? And those were just in on the deal on the plenishing hammer. I didn't even know they were there. There was also some other goodies in the basket with the stuff for the louver press, but I've already stacked a bunch of stuff in here on top of it. So I'll have to show you guys that when I get back. I'm gonna go ahead and get this stuff loaded up, and when we get back to the shop, I'll go over what all we got and tell you how much I spent. Well, I'm back from the auction and got everything all unloaded and kind of starting to go through everything here. Figured I'd show you guys what I got. So first item that we bought right off the bat when we got there is this little pneumatic crimping tool type of thing. It's not really crimping. It's for putting a flange on a piece of sheet metal. If you want to do a overlap on your sheet metal when you're welding them on, you can put a little step in it. Then when you put the other piece on there, you don't have a raised piece. I don't have one of these because I don't really like putting sheet metal on that way, but there is occasions where it actually makes sense to do that. So it was cheap, like $7 I think is what I gave for it.
Sold 7.
Number 95, the one in your left hand there.
$7
or right hand.
16,
Let's find out right now if it even works. We got our Milwaukee, what is it, router holder thing. I don't really do a lot of woodwork stuff, so I don't have any idea what this is worth. I'll probably throw it on a shelf. I don't know that I need it for anything, but never know. They might come up. That was a freebie, by the way, with our plenishing hammer, which we'll get to here in a little bit. I had a pair of pliers. It was also with these, and I bought these for just a couple, $2-3. I can't remember now.
All 3 pair of steps, 1 minute, 5, 5, channel locks in here, 5, 5, 5, 5, 2 down from all, 2 down from all, down to 1, 1, 2, up 2, by 2, get 2, get by 3, 3, 3, put it by 3, get 3, so 2, 5, 8, 5. Sorry, 95.
I'm always needing some new tin snips, and this particular pair right here looks like they're brand new. Doesn't look like they've hardly been used at all. So we'll have to try those out later and see if they're any good. Also ended up buying a bunch of clamps. I really love these little Irwins. These things are pretty handy and you can't never have enough of them. So those are pretty nice. This style, whatever. I mean, probably be useful at some point, but not my favorite. But the price was right, so I went ahead and got them.
Bar clamps on here in the first step. Buy the piece of 4, times bid on get 5, a clamp at 5.
5, yeah.
5, 5, buy the clamp, 5, 5, 5, $5 now 2. Up to get in 2, 2, get in by 2, go 2 by 3, 3, 3, put it in by 3, bid 3, go 3, 3, put it in by 3, get 3, so 2.
95.
95.
Well, this was only a $20 deal, so we'll see if it's any good or not. It's kind of worse for wear the more that I look at it. This is probably going to be a dud. It does have a pretty good sized blade on it, so at least I'm not totally out my $20. We can get a little bit of use out of that blade, but let's see. That's kind of what I figured the more I looked at it. This is not real great. I didn't look at it very good at all before I bought it. It just seemed cheap, and I was standing there, and there you go. That is part of the game that you got to play when you're going to auctions and stuff. You don't know how good this stuff is and how long it's going to last, even if it is good. So there is always that to deal with and think about. But $20, pretty cheap gamble, and I lost that one. Stack of blades though for chop saw, and I've of course got other chop saws. So $5 for these blades, and there's no way that that blade right there isn't worth $5. And then the rest of these, if I can get any cutting out of them at all, then I'm money ahead of the game on those. So that's always a good deal. Can't never hurt to buy consumable stuff like that. Next in our basket, we've got our stencils that I threw in there earlier. So you guys seen these already. I've wanted a set of these for a long time. They'd be really handy for a lot of stuff, but they want like $100 a piece for these, and I just couldn't justify it myself. So I always figured I would make a set on plasma table and have them to use, but I just never have, you know, one of those deals. But now I don't have to. I'm not sure that this is going to anything. I think this was just some scrap metal that got thrown in there. I don't think that goes to anything at all. Now we do have our dies in here, which is why this was over there with the louver press. So that's our louver press dies. We've got those that came with it, and that also goes with it. There's the spring-loaded part of it. This all needs put together, and I'm gonna probably do that here in the next day or so, put that together and play around with that thing. I'm excited to do that. So besides our louver press die stuff there's some other stuff in here that's kind of press related, and they had it thrown in this basket. So some of it is, some of it isn't. I mean, I think that's just some more sheet metal, scrap stuff, whatever. I don't know what's going on with this wood, but this is pretty sweet. We got right here, and right here, and right here. Get all that crap off there. I just did blue metal dust in my eye. That was real bright. Uh-oh, we get it together and not get it apart. Okay, I'm not gonna push that together because it's got metal shavings stuck to it, magnetically stuck to it. But so these little things are a cutting and flaring die set is what they are, and they're oval, and the oval makes them very unique. You don't see that very often, and it's kind of hard to find. It is something that Mittler Brothers and very few other places actually offer, but pretty cool. There's a set of 3 of them there, and these things are very expensive. These are $500 a pop, and 1, 2, 3 of them right there that was just thrown into this basket with the stuff for the louver press over there. These go with them. So that's pretty well. I mean, we got some bolts and stuff here. I guess there's a carbide end tool in there, and I think that goes with the louver press, but I'm not 100% sure what it does. I'll have to look into that. But anyways, yeah. Those are our smalls that we got. Let's go over and check out the louver press a little bit better. There's something kind of unique and different with it that I want to show you guys. And we can check out the plenishing hammer a little bit over there as well too. So the louver press is an actual unit you can get from Mittler Brothers, and then you build your own frame, and that's what somebody's done here. We'll talk more about the frame in a second. But this unit right here, just like it is with one set of dies, you only get one louver die in there. I think it's like $1,900, and then you've got to buy the pump and you've got to build the frame as far as all that goes too. And this isn't a super high dollar pump, but it's still probably a couple $100 or whatever just to have a pump.
All right, next one we got is a shrinker stretcher on the 113.
Dot
It's got your
113.
foot valve down there with it.
Got your foot valve on here with it. They're going to give one here.
But it's actually a louver.
Sir?
Louver press. Louver press.
Okay, louver press.
I got a louver press next, and 9 on here, still on louver press, and how much on here? 500. Up, I get to buy 5. I get to buy 250. Up, 250. Yep. 100.
Yep.
Yep. 2, 2.5. Up,
Yep.
3, 3,
Yep.
4, 4,
Yep.
5. Up,
Yep.
5.5 and 6.
Yep.
7, 800. 800 9.
Yep.
1,000. 1 get 1100. 11, 12. 12 get 12 get 1, 12 get 1200. Up, 12 get 1, 12 get 12. So 1100.
95.
95.
Yep.
I got 140.
The framework, on the other hand, I didn't even pay attention too much of it, to be honest with you. I noticed somebody done some airbrushing on it, whatever. I mean, but and there was some pretty gnarly looking welds on here. But as I was loading it onto the trailer, I had it on the forklift, and I was lifting it up there on the trailer, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I recognize those parts and pieces. See if you guys can recognize it. So this bottom piece is made for something else, and that piece is made for something else, and that piece is made for something else. And if you also notice, we got wheels there, and we got wheels there, and we got wheels here. So kind of kind of different. This will give you a little bit better hint of what's going on here. Now do you recognize it? Somebody has an old cherry picker that they cut up and reworked into this frame. So I'm gonna give somebody an A for effort on that deal, because I probably would not have thought of doing this with an old cherry picker, to be honest with you. Honestly, if they would have been a little bit better welding, they probably could have actually pulled off something here that wouldn't be too bad, and maybe spent a little bit of time, at least, cut the wheels off and stuff like that. But any rate, I think it might actually work for now, for me, for a minute. I've got an idea of something that I want to do that's going to be big and cool and gnarly or whatever, so I'll end up probably taking this stuff off and putting it on another frame that I end up building. But for now, we'll be able to do some louvers that we couldn't previously do before, so that's pretty cool. And this is our plenishing hammer. This is the 2-foot version of Mittler Brothers plenishing hammer. I am pretty excited to be able to play with that some. The plenishing hammer I have now is an old Harbor Freight one that I've already had like 3 or 4 of those that I broke and returned, and I hate to even use the one I got now in case I actually have a use for it that I can't do anything but use that for. And I was worried that, in the past I would actually break it and wouldn't be able to do the jobs that I need to do. So now I don't have to worry about that anymore, hopefully. Hopefully this will be something that'll last us for a while and be good. So anyways, I think this is like $1,300 is what they sell for new. And then the cart, I think, is like another $300 if you buy the cart, which I would never buy the cart, but I'm happy to have. I'm glad we got the cart now, so it's a nice addition to it. But that puts this whole unit at like a $1,700 deal, I think, if you was to buy it right now from Mittler Brothers. So
Air planisher.
Air planisher. Air planisher.
All the attachments right along the side there.
Next winner to give one here. Him wants on here. Somebody send in 500. What? We're gonna buy 5. We're gonna buy 3.5.
Yep.
We're gonna get 4.
Yep.
We're gonna buy 4.
Yep.
We're gonna get 5. We're gonna buy 5.5. 600. 600 gets 6. 5, 6, 6.5. 6.5. Get 700. 675. 700. 700. 7 a quarter. 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 725. Sold 700. 95. I
thought the $700 that I gave for it's a pretty good score. There is a couple of dies missing on the back of this thing. Woo. There is a couple of dies missing, and I don't know if the 2 that are in here originally would go in here and that just leaves 1, or if I've got 3 missing. I'm gonna have to look that up and see. But here nor there, I've got stuff I can use right now, and I'll see if I can't modify the other ones I already have to make them work in here as well too. So should be good to go. Okay, so there's probably somebody that's negative out there that's saying, well, the other stuff that you bought didn't work. This stuff probably doesn't work either. So I'm gonna go ahead and check it out real quick and see. I got a little piece of scrap metal here, got a little air fitting. Oh, this one already has a fitting on it. I didn't even need that. Okay, let's see. Of course, these dies are all rusty and nasty and will definitely need cleaned up. Well, moment of truth here. That's about all my ears went of that without some ear protection, but we no longer have a flat piece of scrap metal anymore. Started polishing our dies out too, but I think it's probably better to get those polished out with some sandpaper first rather than a piece of metal. So we're good there. Shall we go ahead and try the louver press real quick too, I guess? I'm not going to take the time to clean the dies up and put them all in here, but we can at least make sure the cylinder works. Voila. Sweet, sweet, sweet. I didn't have any doubt, but in case any of you did, there you go. Almost forgot the last piece here. This is a JD squared tubing bender. This is a 32, model 32. It's a ratcheting style. It is manual. You can adapt it over to be hydraulic if you wanted to. They do sell some parts to do that, I think. And this one did come with an 1 3/4 die there, and a couple of other dies that are a little bit smaller. I think like 1 1/4 and 1.5 or something like that, somewhere in that neighborhood. So a couple extra dies with it and this, and I think I gave like, what was it, $375 for it or something.
Ratcheting bigger, that's on here, what's on here? What's in here? Get 500, up, get 5, 150, 150, 150, 150, 150, 150, 150, 150,
Yeah.
150, 175.
Yeah.
2 1/4, quarter, 2 1/4, 2 1/4,
Yeah.
2 1/4, 250, 150, 275.
Yep.
3, 3, 3, 3 1/4, 3
Yep.
350, 350, 350, 375, 375, 375, 4, 4, 4, so 375.
95.
95.
Paid up a little bit for it, but with the extra dies, the dies are expensive. And I think this is something that if I need to, I could go ahead and sell and maybe recoup some of my money back on some of the other stuff. Or if I end up not selling it, it'd be handy to have around the shop. Now, I do have an 1 3/4 die in my other bender, so this is kind of irrelevant. I don't really need that part. But the other sizes, that would be handy to have because I don't have those for my other bender. Having that said, I think this bender and those 3 sets of dies should easily probably be worth, you know, somewhere around the $900 to $1,000 if I put it on Marketplace or something like that. So that is probably what I'll end up doing to begin with, and we'll see if I can recoup some money from it. And I'll be happy if I do, I'll be happy if I don't. So it won't matter one way or another. I know I can't really leave it too much out here in the open on this cart because it's very, very likely to fall over. All right, so I'm sitting here doing the final edit on the video, and I did promise you guys that I would do a grand total before we left. So I've got my receipt here and my grand total on this auction. Now this is including sales tax, which you're gonna have to pay sales tax no matter where you buy it at. The government's always gonna get their part, but if we're spending way less on the stuff that we're buying, we're paying way less in taxes. So there's that benefit as well. And there's also a buyer's premium on here, and that goes to the auction house because it's their fees. It's how they survive and how they make money. And yes, it does kind of suck to have to add that on there a little bit, but it is what it is, and we're still come out pretty good on this deal. So my grand total is $2,629. Now there was a couple of other little things on there that I didn't show you guys. It's kind of some personal stuff that I'm going to take home. So I didn't really talk about that in the video, but it's like less than 20 bucks. So there's that on there as well. And yes, I understand that this is not a small amount of money. It's a very good size amount of money actually. And I probably wouldn't even have went there and bought this stuff if it wasn't for the fact that literally the night before the auction, I sold something that I had bought at one of the previous auctions in that very same building, and that I sold had put about $1,500 extra in my pocket. So it kind of was a sign that I needed to go to the auction. That's kind of how I felt about it. So I had the extra $1,500 there to spend, and technically if we go ahead and we do sell the tubing bender that we had before, I'm actually not going to be really money out of pocket per se, since I did sell the stuff that I had bought previously at that auction. And if we sell the tubing bender, that'll put me right about even on everything. If not, then again, like I said before, I do have some money invested then in this point in tools that I will be able to use. So there is that as well. On that same note of selling stuff, there's actually options here to not only get tooling at a decent price and perhaps even free if you go about it right. There's actually options here to be able to make money and to be profitable. So one perfect example of that would have been the English wheel that was there. If you guys were paying attention, you see an English wheel there. I did bid on it, and I did go for it, and I was the last bid before it sold, but I was worried that I would not be able to go ahead and have enough money left to buy the louver press if I did buy the English wheel, so I did stop on it just so that I would be able to make sure that I would be able to get the louver press.
Lot 111 on here, silly English wheel out of here, I'm going to give on here, and what's in here, get 500, I'm going to buy 350, up to 250, up to 4, I'm going to buy 5, up to 5, I'm going to 6, 6, I'm going to get 700, up to 700, get 7, get 7, get 7, get 7, get 7, get 7, get 650, up to 650, 650, 650, 700, up to get 7, get 7, go 7, get 7, get 7, get 7, go 7, mid, 7, mid, 7, mid, 7, sold 6.5, 162.
So yeah, the gentleman that bought that is probably in at like $850 by the time he pays his fees and his taxes and what he bought it for there at the auction. But the next day, first thing in the morning, I wake up and I opened up Marketplace like I usually do just for shits and giggles. And there it is on Marketplace for $2,200, and that's actually a really good deal on that English wheel because that English wheel sells new for $3,900 and something, almost $4,000. Pretty decent number, and he'll probably sell it relatively quickly, I would think, at that price. And at this price, he's going to more than double his money, and even if somebody beats him up a little bit on the price, still going to double his money. So pretty good deal right there, and I wish that I would have went ahead and bought it, but again, I might not have been able at that point to be able to afford to get the louver press, and that would have been disappointing to me because I've wanted a louver press for a really long time. I have got an English wheel, and I've also got a bunch of really nice parts to an English wheel that I plan on building in the future. So I want to leave you guys with this as a takeaway, and that is to just try and think outside the box from what you normally would to be able to try to accomplish your goals. And I know for a lot of people that, they'll be able to accomplish your goals means to build something, and that is thinking outside the box compared to just going and buying something, vehicles especially, because nowadays it's very, very common for vehicles to be $75,000 or $100,000, and that's just not an option for many of us. And that's not even much of a vehicle on some situations, depending on what we're talking about. So long story short, we end up having to build a lot of stuff. We have to learn, new trades and learn new skills to be able to do that. And that in itself is pretty awesome and pretty neat to be able to say that, you've done that and you've accomplished that. And a big part of that is also to be able to have the tools. And again, if we can kind of try to think outside the box on how to get them, there's not only just auctions, but, there's Facebook Marketplace, there is lots of other websites too. I mean, Craigslist is still a thing. I got Next Tech in my area and some others. So I don't know what you guys have in your area that's common, but there's ways out there. Plus another big one is to just put the word out there, through friends and family and things like that, and be like, hey, I need a X to be able to do blah, blah, blah job. And you might be surprised that there's somebody out there that that has one of those tools because they too wanted to do one of those jobs, and now they've bought it and they bought it new, and now they'll be like, well, I've used it like 3 times. I'm never going to use it again. I'll tell you what, I'll take half price of what it costs new. And there you go. Now you're ahead of the game already. You're at least ahead of them anyways. So yeah, lots of options to be able to do all this stuff that we're doing. So I hope people don't get discouraged by that. I know it's very easy to get discouraged in today's world with the prices of everything being just so outlandish and crazy on a lot of stuff. And I too feel it, as well as far as that goes, a lot of times. So there's a lot of stuff that I'd like to be able to do that's just not an option, and it is what it is. So with all that said, I think the only thing left for me to do is to thank you guys for watching the videos and following along with our builds and supporting us with our merch and all of that, and even just listening to me ramble like you are right now in this video. And all of that means a ton to us, and we greatly appreciate it, and I hope that you guys will continue to do that for a number of years in the future. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys next time.